They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
All right, guys, I am very excited to bring y'all this video because I honestly think that it's probably going to be the most useful video we have ever had on this channel. Way more useful than a buy-sell video, way more useful than a waiver wire or a video where I go through and break down your trades. What we are going to be doing is we are going to be talking about fantasy basketball settings and how you can optimize your roster with players that fit your settings to make sure that you are not only maximizing value, but you are also going to be able to put up a decent amount of points if you're playing in a points league, and make sure that you can dominate your categories if you're playing in a category format. But the reason I decided to make this video is just because we've had a ton of new listeners coming to the channel lately, and I always reference in the video if we were talking about a player that's a buy, if we were talking about a player that's a sell, if I prefer them in a point league or a category league, and why. And we've had some questions in the comment section going, Mason, what's a category league? What's a point league? What am I playing in? What's the difference here? So I think what we can do in this video is I can go through, talk about the differences, and then I have about a list of 10 players that I think their value dramatically shifts based on the format that you are playing in. So yeah, essentially the difference between a category league and a point league is in a point league format, you are going to get all of your player statistics added together to get one set number at the end of the night. Say he drops 55 points, then you're going to have 55 points loaded in to your lineup, and that's going to be added to your total score, where it's very similar to fantasy football. I mean, that's pretty much the fantasy football format. Whereas in category formats, what actually happens is you have a matchup and you go up against your opponent in about 8 or 9 different categories depending on your league. And the difference between these two formats is that in category formats, field goal percentage and free throw percentage actually matters a lot, especially compared to a point league format, where if you kind of just get rid of free throw percentage and field goal percentage, you are going to see dramatic shifts in players' values. So yeah, let's go through and let me give you some examples of this. And the best player we can start it off with is going to be Giannis Antetokounmpo. And y'all know coming into the year, I strongly advised y'all to stay away from Giannis in category leagues, and that was because of his free throw percentage. And I want to give a quick shout out right now to #basketball.com. I believe that's what they're called. I'm going to double check it. If it's not, I'll put it on the screen, where they have a great tool where you can go through and you can look at the current points per game in terms of the value above replacement that a player is giving you in a point league versus a category format. You can plug in your exact league format there. So what we are going to be doing is we are going to be looking at the difference once you plug in free throw percentage and field goal percentage and not having them involved. So please understand your own league settings. So if you're playing in a league where field goal percentage and free throw percentage doesn't matter, so far Giannis is the third best player over replacement in points per game. Yet if you're playing in a category format, that number actually drops down to 17. And the reason behind this is Giannis is shooting 66% from the free throw line. And we know that is just not going to get it done. So while Giannis, yes, he is on a tear. He is one of the hottest players, if not the hottest player in basketball right now. This is someone that if you're playing in a category format, right now you could be losing your free throw category every single week due to Giannis, because he's going to be a high volume shooter from the line and his efficiency is going to be so far down. So say you are playing in a couple different leagues. A way you can use this to your advantage is if you're playing in a points league, go out there and try to pay a premium, pay whatever you can to get Giannis on your roster, as he is a top 3 player and a truly elite asset. Whereas if you're playing in a category format where free throw percentage matters, then you can go out there and you can look to sell Giannis. Even if you're not going to get that top 3 value, he's not worth that in those category formats unless you structure your roster in terms of adding a couple of these guys that are going to be poor free throw percentage shooters on the same team. That way you just completely punt the category. But yeah, Giannis is going to be the first player that we are going to be talking about. And our next guy has been very disappointing for people in category formats that spent their first round pick on him. Not very disappointing. But Luka, anyway, the difference between a category format and a points format is extremely sharp. Right now, he's the 4th best player over replacement in a points league format, whereas in a category format, he's the 15th. And that's because if we go down to his free throw percentage, if we look at his field goal percentage is down at 47%, and his free throw percentage is at 75%. And while no, these numbers aren't nearly as poor as Giannis with his own free throw percentage, we understand that Luka is a little bit balancing it out here where, yeah, I mean, he's going to be an extremely high volume shooter. He's going to be going to the line very often. He's just going to be putting up shots at will. But in a league where you need to make sure the majority of those shots are going in, Luka can be hurting you with your field goal percentage, with your free throw percentage right now. So this is another instance of wanting to know where your league format lies. All right, so now a perfect example of this, someone who's actually decent from the free throw line, but his field goal percentage is in the gutter, is going to be Fred VanVleet. And this is another reason why y'all ask me in the premieres, hey Mason, what are we doing with Fred VanVleet? And my first response is, do you play in a category league or a points league? Because that means everything. Right now, Fred is the 21st player in terms of value over replacement in a category format. So still very valuable, still someone that you can build your team around. But if you get rid of field goal percentage and free throw percentage mattering, he jumps up all the way to number 7, and he is truly an elite asset. And the reason behind this is simply because his 39% field goal percentage. So that's a number that at the volume he shoots the ball at, I mean, it's going to tank you in that category, and it's going to be hard to get over the hump. Whereas, like I said, guys, just knowing your league format. So if you're playing in a points league, these guys I'm talking about right now are going to be guys you should probably go out there and trade for. Because obviously your league mates are also watching videos. Your league mates are also going and listening to podcasts, reading articles. So in a lot of those articles, a lot of those podcasts, people may be referring to the value of Fred VanVleet in terms of a category league. But if you're playing in a points league, it doesn't matter. His value is so much higher than that. And that's how you can take advantage. And now our next player, someone that I honestly just was completely wrong about this season. I wanted to avoid him in drafts where we could in those category leagues, but it hasn't really mattered. I mean, it's been great regardless. And this is LeBron James, who in category formats, due to his 69% number from the free throw line, he's ranking in at 24th in value over replacement per game. And then if you remove the free throw percentage mattering, he's jumping all the way up to 12th. So another example, we don't need to talk too much about this. We can go through and just hit quickly on a few more players. But LeBron, if you're playing in a points league, that's someone I'm going to be wanting to go out there and get. And then our next player is going to be Andre Drummond, who right now in a category format is not an elite asset by any means, especially when he's not playing basketball. But we just mentioned him as someone that you want to go out there and try to trade for your fantasy basketball playoffs, because he'll be on a new NBA team, he'll be getting minutes. And I specifically said in that video, the leagues that you want to be trading for Andre Drummond in is actually going to be those point leagues, where right now he's 24th in value over replacement in those point leagues. Obviously, this is due to the fact that he is going to be an elite rebounder, and the sharp drop-off is due to the fact that he has a 59% rating from the free throw line. So good luck in a category format to win your free throw percentage if you have Andre Drummond playing. And also, I'll say later on in the video, we'll talk about some guys that are better for category formats as well. But let's end it up with two guys right here that are better for those point leagues. Someone that's extremely obvious, everybody should understand this. Russell Westbrook, while yes, he's been a lot better as of late, he's actually 99 spots higher in terms of his value over replacement per game in points leagues compared to category leagues. And this is due to the fact that in a category format, he is killing you in both field goal percentage and at the same time free throw percentage, where he is down at 42% from the field. And in terms of his free throw percentage, he is down at 59%. Something I didn't expect it to be that low for Westbrook, but still, it's happened. And you have to understand that if you're in a category league, and if someone's excited about this Westbrook resurgence, and you can try to sell them on the fact, saying, hey man, Westbrook just wasn't healthy at the beginning of the year, and you can cash out at a profit. I mean, we do that every single time. But if you're playing in a points format, then you're like, oh, okay, Westbrook is going to have a serious amount of volume with not only the shots he is taking, but his assists, his rebounds. We know he's out there hunting for rebounds every single game. So another player, just have to know your format. And then Donovan Mitchell is going to be our last guy. He is 21st in points leagues and 53rd in category leagues, and this is due to his 42% field goal rating. And when you're shooting with a ton of volume, that is going to heavily impact you in those category leagues. Now let's go on the other side. Let's talk about some guys that are going to be better for you in those category formats compared to your point formats. And the number one player that we can look at is Zach LaVine. And with Zach LaVine, yes, I understand. I mean, he is great regardless of the format that you're playing in. But if you look at his numbers from the line, if you look at his numbers from the field, they are elite with the amount of volume that he is seeing. This is why every single time pretty much in one of those premieres, y'all go, hey Mason, I'm playing in a category format. Who should I try to trade player X for? And I'm every single time coming back with you saying, hey man, what you need to do is you need to go out there and you need to try to get Zach LaVine, as he is shooting close to 50% from the field and 90% from the free throw line, which I know you can see a decent amount of players today in the NBA doing that. But usually those guys aren't doing it with volume. Usually those guys aren't at the same time dropping 30 points per game. So if you're playing in that type of format, Zach LaVine is an elite asset. And let's go through, talk about some other guys. Like DeMar DeRozan is also a perfect example where he is shooting close to 50% from the field. He is shooting close to 90% from the free throw line. We know that is going to significantly raise his value. And if we go through, let's try to find someone a little bit lower. That way y'all can get an understanding of how to do this on the back end of your rosters. Someone that I'd be interested in would be DeLon Wright. Right now, he is not fantastic in either one of these categories, but we know that he is shooting about 80% from the free throw line and about 47% from the field. And if you're talking about the end of your roster, that is going to make a difference. Okay, now, thank you guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. I really hope y'all got something from it. As always, if y'all did, go down there, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a ton. And yeah, I forgot to just shout out to Premier Gang. Thank y'all all so much for coming out and hanging out with me during the premieres every single day. I've had a ton of fun talking with y'all. I'm going to continue to try to do my best answering as many questions that y'all have. So if you had a question and I was unable to get to it, just ask it again. And please wait like 2 to 3 minutes to make sure that I did miss it. But we've had a ton of people out as of late, so it's a little bit harder for me to get to every single question.